everyone, and welcome to Tugboat's YouTube channel, where we help you navigate your own insurance claim like a pro. My name's Cameron.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're going to be diving into our top 5 picks for the best home insurance companies out there and why. Let's get into it.
Now, just about every article and video that you can find out there will tell you to pick the best insurance company based on price.
And while price is important, you have to weigh that against the nightmare of having a stingy insurance company when you actually need it.
As adjusters, we got to peek behind the curtain to the dozens of insurance companies that we worked for to see how they actually treat their customers.
Now we help people fight for fair treatment. And in our experience, the companies that top the other list for price are the bottom of the barrel when it comes to getting claims paid.
So without further ado, here's our list of the top 5 home insurance companies and why. And just a reminder, we're rating these based on the way that they treat their customers during the claims process. That means how they pay their settlements, how they communicate, and how willing they are to negotiate when there's a dispute.
All right, let's start with CHUBB just to get them out of the way. If you're primarily concerned with the quality of coverage and don't mind paying for it, look no further. CHUBB is typically not the cheapest option, but from what we've seen, they have great adjusters and are exceptionally fair when it comes to payment and coverage decisions. We've seen them go out of their way to work with contractors and property owners to keep projects moving forward so that they're paid quickly and fairly.
Next up, we've got Travelers. Now, if you aren't up for negotiating with your insurance company, at least with Travelers, you can typically count on a pretty decent initial settlement offer. While this is likely to vary by region, the Travelers adjusters and program vendors that we worked with have been better than average, which goes a long way to getting your claim paid fairly. And if there are any issues with their initial estimate, they are typically pretty open to working towards a fair settlement.
The next two on the list were actually a surprise, since the general wisdom is to avoid companies that seem to spend all of their money on advertising. And that holds true for most of the ad warriors out there. But these next two were actually pretty good. Next on the list is Farmers. Farmers has clearly put a lot of work into building a quality product from every angle. The adjusters we've worked with have been responsive and knowledgeable, which is a huge plus in the customer service department. They also have some of the best written policies out there. These policies are easy to read and understand so that you're not left wondering what is or isn't covered when an event does happen. The flip side of that is they have some airtight exclusions that you won't necessarily find in other policies. So if you have a higher than average risk to, say, wind-driven rain, for example, you may want to look elsewhere for a policy that covers your needs.
Next, let's talk about Nationwide, one of the few advertising giants that seems to actually stick to their slogans. Yes, from what we've seen, it does seem that typically Nationwide is on your side. Like the other insurance companies on this list, they tend to have adjusters who are knowledgeable and communicative. And best of all, they typically have the authority and willingness to negotiate as needed. Just a quick note on the different types of adjusters you might come across when it comes to your claim. There are desk adjusters who typically work remotely and have more authority on your claim to settle and issue payments. Then there's the field adjuster who typically does the inspection, writes the estimate, and makes the initial coverage decision. The amount of authority that field adjuster and even that desk adjuster has varies depending on their experience typically, and depending on the insurance company they work for. Now, insurance companies like Nationwide typically give their adjusters quite a bit of authority to negotiate as needed, like we said.
Now we're going to take a look at Hippo. Now we don't have as much experience with Hippo as the other companies on this list, but we included them anyway because we could not ignore the positive feedback that we heard from our colleagues. Since breaking onto the scene in 2015, Hippo has built a solid reputation for being one of the more reliable insurance companies.
Now let's talk about the honorable mentions. There are a few other insurance companies we like but didn't include on the list because of their limited markets. Secura, for instance, is great but only available in 13 states. Horace Mann puts a lot of emphasis on taking care of the educators they serve, but is only available to you if you're a teacher. And USAA has garnered an almost fanatical level of support from the military families that they serve, but from what we've seen, that level of service has fallen off quite a bit in recent years.
Which brings up an important point. Insurance companies are constantly changing. They may merge with another company, change their estimating software, update their policy exclusions, or simply tighten up their internal guidelines because they're having a bad quarter. And any of these will have an effect on the way that your claim gets settled.
So while there are definitely some insurance companies we would recommend over others, nothing is going to have as big an impact in the event that you actually have a claim than you and the way that you handle that claim. Because you might have the best insurance company, but just happen to get their worst adjuster. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and let us know in the comments what you think of our picks.
Or if you've just had an awesome claims experience with another insurance company that you'd like to see get some love. Be sure to hit like and subscribe for more insurance claims tips.